What is up, everybody? Today I'm doing a Dissecting Drifting on FD Long Beach 2018. I have a little bit of a cold, so don't mind the sniffles and the loud nose breathing. Doing what I can to get fixed up. I've been gone for about 2.5 weeks with FD and Super D and a little bit of vacation between the two. But yeah, overall, pretty stoked on everything. Had a good weekend. Finished 11th or 12th overall, but just had an overall wild weekend. Cars catching on fire, the Ferrari, me going into the tire wall pretty good, us having a lot of new parts on the car that we're still learning how to drive, or I'm still learning how to drive, and just overall, just a good learning weekend for me. We finished top 32 last year there, made it to top 16 this year. So overall, we're definitely looking better off than last year already. Got some new team gear here. Logos go all the way across. A little bit of a different shirt design. Just new season, new parts, new stuff. Hopefully we can get it together for Orlando. A lot of big changes going through. We found some more horsepower, bigger power band. Just the Mustang overall is becoming a better car. It was already fantastic to begin with, but to run with everybody who's making changes to their cars all year long and whatnot, we got to do the same thing. So pretty stoked on that. And then moving forward, I'm going to do this Dissecting Drifting of Long Beach. First, we'll start off with a #1 qualifying run, and then we'll go into my top 32 run. I won't cover any other 32 battles. But then shortly after that, we'll jump right into the top 16, and yeah, here we go, guys. So this is the FD Long Beach track. We're going to go down the straightaway as fast as you can. There's a 3-2-1 cone here. Then this is a slow down zone where you can be on the handbrake and foot brake. The best way to enter here is a little bit of a transition into a handbrake. The judges will allow you to clutch kick, handbrake, or do whatever you'd like in terms of flicking the car and getting it at angle as long as you enter by the last cone here. You'll power through to the touch and go as wide as you can. There's an area here that you can ride and get into on the wall. It doesn't matter where you get there, that's why it's a touch and go and not a zone. They just want you to get in and out as quickly as possible in that area. Then you'll go to outer zone #1. Basically what that is this is a zone. So under the bridge here, you'll see about a 15-foot section where they want you to fill the zone and get out of the zone as quickly as possible. The judges specifically said they didn't want you to fill the zone and stay out wide. They want you to fill, get out, and then go to outer zone 2 and do the same thing there. Get into the zone and out of the zone. Then there's a touch and go on the last turn, or going into the last turn, that you'll basically is on the corner of a wall. It's pretty sketchy. They want you out there. Most people are not actually touching that, but being within a few inches of it is the key. It sets you up really, really well for the first and last inside clip. You'll clip that, and then you'll go out and finish to the driver's outside wall. So ideally, a #1 run would be outside, hit the touch and go, as much angle as possible, sustain that same amount of angle out to outer zone 1, lock in your angle in outer zone 1 to drive all the way through outer zone 2 and to the transition point going into touch and go #2. Then you'll flick about 90 degrees of angle and drive up in through inner clip 1 and out to the finish line wide. Locking in as much angle as you can while maintaining speed and transitioning as quickly as possible is what's going to give you those additional scores. This map right here is 2017, so ignore this right here. It's not the same as last year. Now your style is basically worth 40 points, and the other two sectors, angle and line, are worth 30 points each. As per usual, I go ahead and show the #1 qualifying run, so we have a reference on what the judges are wanting to see, or at least as close as possible. So this run was with Peter Visick. So he's going to throw it in here with a flick to handbrake. So there's not really any clutch kick. He's just using the transition to get out here. And it's just after the #2 cone where he actually goes into drift.
Poland.
Stays out wide. Very smooth angle. If you notice, he's already on the power here. The angle's locked in. He stays in angle. Gets pretty far to the inside there, but it might be part of his setup with his Ackerman that he can actually drive out to the outside by using the steering wheel. So he'll go ahead and power out, and you'll see a last little bit of angle at the touch and go to get the back end of the car on the wall. Lots of angle right where he needs to be in the touch and go.
Oh, wow, gets even deeper.
Very quick transition there. He gets to this zone a little bit late, and I would like to see if there's a docking of points there, because here's zone start and the end of the zone. He just actually got out there. If we can rewind a little bit, I'll just show it to you one more time. Great there where he needs to be, transition. Gets out to this zone at the end, stays out there a little bit longer, but very locked on angle and smooth with the fluidity. Into the second outer zone here, you can see he gets in right where he needs to and stays. He stays up until the outer zone here, driving out of that. Here's the touch and go on the left here, which is about this area right here. So he's at 90 degrees right there at the touch and go like he should. Backs it in, picks up the inside clip right where he needs to be, and drives up to the outside of the turn.
Peter Vincic, solid performance here.
I believe this was good enough for a 96 for him.
Yeah, very well executed.
I think there's 4 points on the table, only on a little tiny bit on entry, and then also for the second or first outer zone. I think he was a little late on it. So you'll see style 39 out of 40, angle he got full score points 30 out of 30, and his line was off by 3 points. So I do believe that if he would have had a little bit gnarlier of a transition to get out to outer zone 1, he would have got those additional line points, which would have been a 99, which would have been the highest score in a long time. All right, so I usually don't do top 32, but I've had a lot of people ask about my top 32 runs, so I'll go ahead and do that. I had a run against Federico Safira. He drives a Ferrari 599. And it's his first time in Formula Drift, so you'll see that we neither of us have wins against each other. I need to get this up a little bit. I lose more than half my battles. Need to figure that out. I also need to get that up a little bit. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and put this run in because it was a very interesting run, absolutely crazy. His first time in Formula D. It was definitely an interesting battle, and I'll explain it to you the best I can. All right, so we're going to leave the line here. I'm leading first, and I have to go through the chicane here, which slows me down so that he can stay on my door through the entry. So here we go. I throw it in. I'm out wide where I need to be. I'm about to put the power down here. You can see he's in a very bad spot right here, foreshadowing. But yeah, so you can see I pulled him a little bit on the straightaway, then he enters very late to catch up. I pick up the power, and he's right where I need to go at this point. So he gives me a bump and a shove, and it puts me right into the tire wall, which was a really pleasant tire wall hit. Thank you for having those tire walls there. If it wasn't there, I would have been in big, big trouble. Probably would have been in the hospital. You can see he does a good lead run, which turned into a follow run because he put me into the tire wall. We'll go ahead and rewind that. I'm sure they're going to show a replay here. So you'll see I throw it in. I pick up the throttle to drive into the turn, and I'm picking up the throttle here, which is about the same as where even the #1 qualifier picked the throttle up. But he's just got nowhere to go, and he's going really very quickly. And you can see even after the bump, my front tires are still going to go right towards this rumble strip where I need it to be. I don't know if my entry threw him off a little bit or what. He got to follow me earlier in practice, so he should have known. I didn't change anything, so either way. But you can see the bump to the front end, and me not really having anywhere to go. I aim it as best I can into the tire wall to cause minimal damage to try to go in as straight as possible. So Federico was at fault for that run, so I had a huge advantage. And then you can see my team right here putting the car back together using the 5 minutes. So this is ED, Eric Davis, this is Dino, and this is Skip. And they're just going to get the car fixed up really quickly. Not going to use a ton of time. I won't harp on it too much, but they just pull the front end off, fix the wiring for the front end, and we go ahead and jump right into the next part of the battle. All right, so you'll see Federico comes through here, nicks one of the cones and kicks it over. You'll see the front end of my car missing the entire nose cone, So we'll turn around, make a run again because that's a foul basically, and he gets a restart. All right, back into this first turn here. Federico throws it in, and you see his knuckle right here is broken completely. The tire is folded up into the wheel well. This actually becomes a problem later on. So you see me behind him, initiated in sideways, but he cannot do anything. He flies off track, goes against the tire wall. I just finish up and do a very simple lead run just to make sure we can get a score on the board. Nothing too crazy. But what's crazy is this. His car's on fire, and he's trying to kick himself out to be able to get out of the car, which is very good that he got out in time quickly enough. What's crazy is I believe, and cannot quote me on this, but I believe his fuel regulator and system was in this wheel well here under a cover. And what happened was when the wheel broke and fell back, it ripped the fuel lines open, which then caused a fire because there were sparks. So you'll see this quickly. Fire truck comes and puts out the fire, but you can see the fuel just pouring out of the side of the car. It's actually gone underneath the K-rail and lit this side on fire as well. So I did get the win on this battle. They put the fire out. I don't know if it was quickly enough to save the car or not, but I'm really glad Federico is okay. I'm sure that was just absolutely wild to deal with.
You saw little praying hands there, but well, what a way to end top 32.
All right, first battle in the top 16 of Long Beach 2018 is going to be Peter Visick and Kaufman. So we're going to go ahead and start this battle here. Peter is going to lead in the S15. All right, so here we go. He's going to do his flick to throw it in, just like qualifying, gets out wide like he needs to. Kaufman's in a fantastic spot in the follow here, right where he needs to be. Throws it in. You see his car jump on the power almost a little bit later than this qualifying run, and he's going to dive to the inside quite a bit more, but Kaufman is doing a great job of being right there on the inside. He does get rolled a little bit. I think he got caught off guard by his little extension of handbrake, but Kaufman... Ooh, Peter tags the wall there on transition. Kaufman dives to the inside to try to stay as close as possible. Right here, you can see Peter's out wide, right where he needs to be, doing a very high qualifying run, which is going to play into effect, helping him be able to get this win. Kaufman is on the inside quite a bit more to gain proximity, then dives back where he needs to be, drives right into the last turn. Picture perfect for both of them through the last turn. Peter tips the inner clip, but that's okay. He doesn't launch it very far, and the screen is white. I can't really see much. So after this run, definitely Peter has the great lead run. Kaufman is doing a good job in the chase, but chopping the track off a little bit to keep proximity. You can see here he backs up. That's where he's supposed to be. He was a little early on the inside before, but through the last turn, right where he needs to be, great proximity, within a few feet, definitely a good run overall. They switch positions. Kaufman throws it in deep, super deep out here, right where he needs to be, but Peter is right on him. He picks up the power earlier. Peter about a half a car back. Kaufman on a great lead run line. Peter right where he needs to be. Kaufman a little bit shallower on here, so that's going to give him some point loss in the follow. Peter right on target following. A little bit shallow, but much better off than Kaufman was through there. Quick transition to the last turn. Peter is even closer on Kaufman's door than vice versa. This run definitely goes to Peter. I'll give it a little fast forward. We'll see. And it looks like a one more time from Peter. And going one more time all the way. See, I definitely gave that run to Peter just because of his lead run being a little bit better in a few spots and his chase being a little bit better. Interesting. I wonder if they held Peter a little bit at fault for that first turn entry. All right, jumping right back into that one more time with Peter and Matt Kaufman. You'll see Peter here. He's going to lead first. Throws it in. Snappy entry. Kaufman's in an even better position than the last time. He's a little bit less angle, but he's diving in. Peter holds the throttle a little bit longer. He just now is about to roll onto the power. Kaufman's right there on the inside, right where he should be. Fantastic run. Look at this. This is textbook. He's pretty much on the wall where he needs to be, only leaving about 6 inches open, and Kaufman's right on the inside of the battle there. Great transition. Kaufman's pretty much exactly where he needs to be. If I wanted to be perfect, I'd move him back about another 2 feet. Pitor has a great lead run going. Kaufman's closing, getting some proximity, and loses it. He saves it there at the end, but it definitely has a lot to do with, I will show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So as you can see right here, so Kaufman's right where he needs to be, throws it in, dives in, has a little bit of a mistake here. His front wheels are pushing, right? And with the current suspension setup on his car, he has to let off for 1 second. When he does that, the car snaps to angle. And you can see he goes full lock trying to save it. He does save it, but it's going to be a huge deduction on his end, and he ends up washing out in the last turn because of it. So Pitor had an amazing lead run. All right, here's the chase. So Pitor's going to chase. Kaufman leads. Kaufman throws it in deep, super wide. Peter's on the inside a little bit, leaving a little bit of room there. Huge angle from Matt, but has so much forward grip that he actually drives himself away from the wall with that angle. Same thing here. Looks like he's dialing in quite a bit of grip, but he can't get out to that outer zone. Pitor doing a fantastic job in the chase. Look at this. Perfect right there where he needs to be. Gives him a little bit of room to transition. Dives in the last turn. Kaufman washes out a little bit in the last turn. So this run definitely, again, I believe goes to Pitor. I think he should have got it the first time, but, I do see where there could be an issue with the entry that Pitor had done. And looks like unanimously Pitor is going to get the win. All right, so next battle is going to be Ryan Turek and Dai Yoshihara. We'll go ahead and skip ahead here. Try to get to that run. Okay, Ryan Turek's going to lead. Dai's going to chase. Ryan goes ahead and throws it in. A little bit of a slow initiation there, low angle, while Dai is right in the position where he needs to be. Ryan pulls away immediately on the throttle, I think because Dai was kind of waiting for him to pick it up. So a big advantage going to Ryan there. Ryan's 6 feet off the wall here. Out to that zone again, about 6 feet off the wall, but Dai is in no man's land on the inside. Nowhere near where he's supposed to be. Ryan's way off the outer zone again. Dai's actually deeper, but just way offline, trying to play a catch-up. Dives to the inside, hits the cone. Just not a very good run in the chase from Dai. Looks like they're fixing Pitor's car. We already watched that battle. All right, so the switch, Dai's going to lead. Ryan Turek's going to chase. Dai throws it in. A little bit of a inconsistent entry. Ryan's right there on him, though. Double handbrake again from Dai. But Dai is out to the outer zone, much deeper than Ryan was. Again, much deeper than Ryan was, but Ryan is on him. He's a little bit shallow on line and angle, but he's right there. Dai gets out to the outer zone. This is a much better lead run than Ryan Turek had, but Ryan is right there on him. Everywhere he needs to be. Dai is an amazing lead run. Ryan, great follow run. This is where it's tough because I definitely think that, as you can see, Dai had the better lead run by far, but Dai's chase was very sloppy. So I definitely got to go ahead and give this to Ryan Turek. If Dai would have just done a little bit better of a chase, he definitely would have at least gained himself one more time. But I'm definitely going to go ahead and give this one to Ryan Turek. I'm not really sure what happened to Dai in that first run. He just didn't quite pull it off. And it's unanimous. Goes to Ryan Turek. All right, so now we have Odie and Justin Pollock. So Justin's going to throw it in. A little bit of a weak entry, but then snaps it into angle. Odie chooses the inside entry so that he can have a good drive into turn one. This is a great run here. Odie is right in the spot, following and mimicking exactly what Justin is doing. Justin's about 6 or 7 feet off the outer zone here. Snappy transition, big angle, hits the wall on the outer zone number 1. Odie is right there where he needs to be. A little bit less angle, but attacking very, very closely. Justin had a little bit of a straightening here to get to where he needed to be in that last turn. which threw Odie off in the transition, but Odie quickly dives right back in and finishes the run right on his door. Odie, to me, at this point, has a very good follow run, and Justin has a so-so lead run. All right, now they're switching positions and letting the tree go down. All right, here we go. So Odie's leading, Justin's following. We go ahead and throw it in. Odie gets a lot of speed at the last little bit. You can see initiates right at the second cone, pouring the angle on slowly. Justin's initiating behind him very closely. Lots more angle than Odie on the entry, but has no problem driving out. Oh, and Odie loops it while Justin's on the inside. This is wild because I'm sure you can see Justin is in a bad spot right here and not really wicking the tires off and doing anything. And Odie's where he needs to be, but he looks like he's washing out. Loops it. Justin is in the right spot to just let it happen, passes, and goes ahead and powers through. So Justin Pollock is definitely going to get the win on this one. That can't be right.
Justin Pollock gets the win.
Yeah, they definitely made a mistake there. Justin got the win. It was announced as Justin getting the win. They just slid it the wrong way on the live stream. Osbo in the lead and Kristaps in the follow, both in new cars. He drove his E90 last year, and he's driving the Corolla for the first time this year. So Osbo's going to throw it in. Good snappy entry. It's very, very deep. Blues is right where he needs to be. Amazing spot. Drives it in. Gets a little bit jammed here. I think he thought Osbo was going to pick up the throttle a little bit earlier than he did. Gets caught on the inside, but then quickly catches up. Osbo having a great lead run here. Misses his zone by a little bit. Uses a little bit of handbrake to back the car up to try to fill that zone a little bit better. But Kristaps is right on his butt. Super, super close. Washing out a little bit, but both drivers doing really, really well there. Looks like Osbo, a much, much smoother line, while Kristaps is trying to catch up, making a few mistakes in the chase and following back. Just looks like that car lacks a little bit of the forward grip he needs to be able to stay on Osbo's door. But as again, you can see here, Osbo, really good lead run. Other than this, so touch and go's good. Outer zone 1, he has the e-brake to back the car up a little bit to help. And then he gets pretty close to the judge's wall there and gets right on the touch and go to go into the finals turn here. Kristaps just not quite putting the heat on like he should have been, but overall pretty good. All right, so switch positions here. Kristaps Blues is going to lead. Throws it in. Big angle. Pops a wheelie off entry. Leaves Osbo. Very similar to how the run was in reverse, but Blues doesn't quite get out to that outer zone all the way. Again, doesn't quite do it there. Hand breaks out, but this is about where Osbo was on his run as well. Osbo doing a really good job of staying very, very close to him, even adding more angle than Blues in this spot right here. Right where he needs to be. Dives in on the inside, kind of waiting for Blues almost, and does a fantastic job in the chase. This run's definitely going to go to Frederick Osbo. Osbo advances on. There you go. All right, up next is going to be James Dean and Mike Essa. James Dean, a little bit of flick in, stays out wide, while Essa's setting himself up pretty well on the inside. They pick up the throttle, and James starts to pull away like a rocket ship. He's out on the outer zone here where he needs to be. Essa's on the inside. Much shallower angle to stay up on him. This is fantastic by Essa. He gained a lot of ground right there, driving right back up onto his door. Really, really, really good chase run and lead run. Transitioning into the last turn, Essa dives into the inside, gets around the last turn, very, very close. Good run by both of them. Essa a little bit weak on the entry, but James Dean had an amazing lead run as well. After the first turn, you're looking at just a great chase run from Essa and a great lead run from James Dean, right where he needs to be. Perfect run. Very, very good. We'll switch positions here and see what happens. All right, so Essa's going to lead. James Dean is going to chase. Essa throws it in. James is right where he needs to be. Great entry. Powering through. James is right there on him. Essa a little bit further off the wall than James was. Same thing here, a little bit off. But James Dean is right there on him. Similar proximity to the other run. Mike is in the wall, super deep, while James is a little bit on the inside there. Essa blows the back end of his car off. Super, super close run here. So I gotta say, James Dean had a little bit closer of a chase run, had better proximity for a longer part of the run, and a little bit better of a lead run, but Essa's chase was very smooth and fluid. And while he was off a little bit there and a little bit there, he filled the zone in front of the judges much better, all the way deep where he needed to be. So I'm leaning towards James Dean on this, but it could be a one more time with Essa. All right, so we'll see who wins here. We got one more time. And then Andy's going to say one more time. And Brian... Oh, we don't know what Brian said, but either way, it's going to be one more time. I could agree with that. I saw a little bit differently with the James Dean having the advantage slightly, but again, I said it could go both ways. All right, so here we go. Matt Field in the new Corvette versus Alec Honadale in the S14. Let's see how this battle goes here. You can see me in the background right here, hanging out, waiting. All right, Matt Field's going to come in first in the lead. Throw it in with a big nasty flick. Alec's going to check himself out wide with a slow initiation. Get rolled a little bit coming through the turn. Matt's about 2 feet off the outer zone. Alec doing a good job in the chase. Another 2 feet off the outer zone. He might just still be figuring that car out. Alec is pretty much right where he needs to be. He is closing the gap and staying right on him. Matt is a little bit off that zone as well. Transition to the last turn. Alec dives into the inside, super close, chokes himself off a little bit, but still does a very, very good job of chasing that run. So definitely a pretty straightforward battle there. Matt had a decent lead run, and Alec had a pretty good chase. Pretty straightforward run there. All right, Honadale's going to lead. Matt Field's going to chase. Honadale does a flick, throws in with a lot of angle. Matt's stuck a little bit on the inside here, but has good proximity. Ooh, he's in a bad spot right there. Let's see how he pulls through this. Very, very well. Very well. Alec's going to be off the wall even further than Matt was. Matt's got a great transition through this here. Dives a little bit to the inside, but Alec on a very similar lead run to Matt. Alec going a little bit deeper there, but having a little bit of a bobble to get out there. Matt dives to the inside because of that bobble, and straightens a little bit into the last turn. Oof, I don't know. I don't think he got across the finish line either. Matt is at a big disadvantage there on the second half of that run. If you look, so Matt is in a crazy position, driving like a maniac here on the inside. Drives out in a great spot here. He's not quite out where he needs to be. Transitions, gets a little bit further out there, but Matt is in a very similar position to Honadale's lead run. And then you see this little stall up there from Alec, which throws Matt off quite a bit. Right there, a little stall up there. I'm not really sure what that is. That's an on-power section, so that stall up to me is a little bit on Alec. But Matt should have been able to do a little bit tighter on that. And they might ding Matt pretty hard for that last turn. I'm not sure they're going to be able to... Man, I have no idea which way this could go. I would like to say Alec is at fault, but then Matt didn't finish the last turn either after that. So, I mean, it's either going to be one more time or go to Alec Honadale. I mean, it could really go anyway if they deem it Matt Field on the... yeah, so it goes to Alec, which is a bummer because I do believe Matt was phased off pretty good by Alec. I think Alec made a mistake going into that outer zone there. But... You know, as I said it's either going to go to Alec or one more time, so we got the one more time. All right, going to the next battle, it's going to be Vaughn Gittin versus Forrest Wang. Try to fast forward together here. Oh, wait, nope, they're running the rerun of James Dean and Michael Essa. All right, so going into the first turn, it's going to be James Dean leading. Michael Essa chase. Throw it in. James Dean, double handbrake initiation there to get the car exactly where he needs. Essa's in a great spot right there, gets on the power. But James Dean, again, pulls that one-car gap immediately on entry. Giving it a touch and go, a little bit more of it than a touch. James Dean is on fire in lead position, but Essa is inside of his car. Super good battle here from Essa. Great to see him ripping. Matching every bit of the angle of of James Dean doing a great follow run. Dives into the last turn. Looks like he misses the handbrake or something there at the last second to dive in. So he has to back up here to give James Dean some lead to room to transition. He falls back and has a little bit of a straighten there going into the last turn. Very good lead run from James Dean, and great chase, except that last little bit in the follow position going into the last touch and go. All right, they're going to switch positions here. S is going to lead. James Dean's going to chase. Essa throws it in with good angle, smooth transition. James Dean is right there on him. Super, super close, even closer than Essa was. Essa not quite filling that zone there, getting right to that zone where it needs to be, but James Dean on top of him in the transition. Super close. Essa way off in the last outer zone there. Going into the touch and go. James Dean blows out of the smoke, stays pretty close. This run definitely goes to James Dean. Gets the win unanimously. All right, so going back to the next battle is going to be Forrest Wang and Vaughn Gittin Jr. All right, so here we go, Forrest and Vaughn. Forrest Wang throws it in, handbrake entry, no clutch kick, wicks the tires up, and you can see Vaughn waiting for that to happen, so he gets a little bit choked off because he waits a little bit longer. But then Vaughn hits off, starts diving into the inside. Forrest loses angle there quite a bit while Vaughn is right where he needs to be. All right, so jumping right back into it. Vaughn's right where he needs to be in the chase. Forrest has a little bit of a correction there going in, but fills outer zone too, but still about 2 feet off. Vaughn is a little bit trapped on the inside here. Powers through. Again, Forrest having another weird angle, undulation there. Vaughn dives right back into the last turn. Not a very good run to chase from Forrest. As you can see, watch his run. Throws it in, lots of angle, gets on the gas, loses some angle, almost drives straight right here, putting Vaughn in a pretty big predicament. Barely wicking the tires up, no smoke off of Forrest's car. I don't know if he fell out of boost or what was going on, but now gets back in the power, starts rolling coal, has a little bit of a correction even there coming off of this area here with the front end you can see moving, then pours a bunch of angle on after the zone, goes into the last turn, kind of where he should be, picks the throttle up and drives through. So first 2 turns from Forrest, not so great. Vaughn's chase was decent. It was actually pretty good considering, I believe, what Forrest was doing in the lead run. Obviously not on purpose. I think he was just having trouble getting his car on boost. The car is a really, really big turbo. All right, so they switch positions. Vaughn's going to lead. Forrest's going to chase. They throw it in. Super snappy entry from Vaughn. Oh, that's the fastest entry I've seen all day as far as rate to angle. You see Forrest having less angle, trying to chase him in, and cuts the track really far off. Vaughn is out on the outer zone right where he needs to be. Forrest is way off, barely on the pipe, basically not quite filling on any of the zones. Vaughn's powering through. Oh, makes a correction and loops it out. Oh, he totally had the win. All he needed to do is finish the run. Got taken out by Forrest. So definitely Forrest not having his best run, and then Vaughn looping it. And you can see he does a quick reset of the car on the handbrake, and it rotates the car around an extra little bit. As you can see, you'll see Vaughn throw it in here, fill the zone, then watch the back tire. Quick reset, and then the car doesn't drive out and spins. So unfortunately, this one's definitely going to go to Forrest, even though Forrest didn't necessarily drive all that well in this particular battle. He's definitely going to get the win. And he did. There just wasn't any graphic for it. All right, so moving on to the next battle is myself and Chris Forsberg. You see me warming up the tires in the background. All right, so I'm going to chase first since I had a lower qualifying score. Here's Forsberg. He's going to throw it in. Snaps to angle. Low amount of angle, but very quickly. I'm right there where I need to be on his door. I give him a bump in the first turn right there. If you can tell, I was kind of waiting for him to actually roll onto the power. He lets off the handbrake, but doesn't get the power down for a little bit, so I give him a bump. He's out right where he needs to be. I'm chopping the track to catch up. I'm able to do that right here. He misses the outer zone by a little bit right there, and I'm dived in right where I need to be, closing the gap, super, super close, giving him a couple bumps. I fall back to give him some transition room in the last turn, and then I go to power, and I end up looping it in the last turn. Basically, the reason why I ended up looping it there was I threw it in, and I got on the power for the car, and I just overspun the tires a little bit. So I basically backed off the throttle and tried to get back in the gas, and I ended up looping it. I didn't necessarily loop it, but I had nowhere to go, if that makes any sense. So you'll see proximity in spots of this run are very, very good. But then again, here I'm trying to slow the car down. I pick up the throttle and just loop it. I can't physically get myself around that inner clip. All right, so moving on into my lead run. We switch positions. All right, so I throw it in here. Second cone. Wake the tires up. Lead run. Get all the way out to outer zone. About 1.5 feet away. Not quite as good as I wanted to. You can see Chris at low angle trying to get out to that zone. Follows very short. 20 feet off the wall. I transition out, get right to where I need to be in the lead position. Chris again, super shallow. I do not make it out to this outer zone by about 10 feet. Chris even more shallower on the inside there. Transition into the last turn. Chris dives right into where I need. I over-rotate and miss the clip a little bit here. I wash out a little wide. So you can see Chris taking full advantage of that. But that was a mistake on my part, not Chris's. So I didn't quite get out to where I needed to be before the turn, so I missed the inner zone and washed out wide. So you can see here, like, we go back. I transition here. I don't go out deep enough in this particular area, and I can't get the drive through the turn here. So I end up going a little bit wide while Chris is on the inside. So Chris definitely gets the win on this. I had a spin, which gave me a 0. Andy or Ryan actually gave me the win on that one. I don't know if he meant to do that or not. I'd be interested to know why that was the case. But, we'll see. Moving on from that. So that's going to be the last battle of top 16. We're going to move right on to top 8 now.
Let's clarify real quick. That was incorrect. It is unanimous. Chris Forsberg gets the win.
All right, moving on to the top 8, we have Pitor versus Ryan Turek. Pitor is going to lead first. He's going to throw it into the first turn. Big flick. That's the biggest one I've seen from him all weekend here. Turek's right where he needs to be. Again, with a shallower angle, but proximity is very, very good. Pours on the angle, almost as much as Pitor here. Pitor about 3 feet off the wall there. Ryan even further off. Pitor right on the outer zone there. Ryan's right where he needs to be, staying right on his door. Great lead run from Pitor. Ryan is inside the car pretty much, diving to the inside there, almost getting choked off in the last turn, but pulls it off fantastically. Great run from both drivers. Again, like watching a replay, Pitor throws it in. Lots of angle, right where he needs to be. A little bit off on this zone, but Ryan right there on the side of him, showing great control here, not bumping him. Transition to the last turn, drives right in the inside. He watches front wheels. He's at a little bit of angle, not quite as much as I'd like to see, but great proximity throughout the entire run. Switching positions here. All right, so Ryan Turek's going to lead. A little bit of a lame entry again from Ryan. We like to see a little faster snap there, but Pitor is literally hitting him the entire first turn. Ryan about 6 feet off the wall there, needing to get a little bit closer there. About 2 feet off there. Pitor driving right up on him pretty closely. Ryan very far off the wall there. Transitioning to the last turn. Pitor doing a great job in the chase. I would say his run is very close to as good as Ryan's lead chase run. But Pitor's lead run was much better than Ryan's. So I definitely got to go ahead and give this run to Pitor. Ryan's follow was fantastic, but Pitor's lead run was better, and Pitor's follow was equally as good. So definitely goes to Pitor there. Definitely understand that call. This next run's going to be Frederick Osbo versus Justin Pollock. It's the biggest car in the field versus the smallest car in the field. All right. Oh, looks like Justin hits a cone on the way out. They're going to have to turn around and run again. They do that to keep everything fair so the lead car doesn't pull away from the chase car. All right, they run through the chicane here. Justin is leading and Frederick is following. Justin throws it in a good angle. A little bit longer of an e-brake extension there than earlier. Osbo right where he needs to be. Justin filling that touch and go perfectly. Osbo right there on him. Justin again getting right there on the outer zone. A little bit of a different camera angle there. Lots and lots of angle from Justin. While Osbo is right there on his door. Gets gapped a little bit into the last turn, but then fills it and gets right on him. Justin washes out a little bit, and basically Osbo took advantage of that and drove right up to his door. All right, they're going to switch positions here. Ooh, one too many. Osbo's going to lead. Pollock's going to chase. Osbo with a good entry, wide, getting where he needs to be, so he gets a good run out of one. A little bit low angle there getting out to this zone. You can see he's got more angle here than he did a little bit earlier. Pollock right where he needs to be. Super quick on the transition, but just a little bit too much from Justin, causing him to drive inside of the track using all that forward grip, and then finishes the run right on his door where he needs to be. So the second turn was kind of the nail in the coffin for him on the chase. So it's definitely going to go to Osbo just because of that one mistake he made. I'll jump in and show you guys that real quick. So right here is where he needs to be. Gets screwed up in the transition, over Rose a little bit there. And then basically the forward drive of that much angle is pulling him away from the wall, and he can't quite get out to it, loses his speed. And that's going to be the reason why he's not going to advance. So Osbo's definitely going to get the win on this one. Osbo's car is smoking a lot there. It's pretty interesting. Lots of smoke coming off. You can see Shaldo coming over here to check the car out. One more time. Justin Pollock. One more time. Yeah, see, I definitely gave that one to Osbo. It's interesting that they're going to do it one more time, and I'm definitely excited to see that. Oh, let's see what they said. Sorry.
All right, so again, 2-1.
So looking at what we just saw, Pollock in the chase position there when Osbo was leading didn't have much of a chance at outside zone 1. We put a lot of emphasis on the lead driver at this during this season. It's something that we're going to be really strict on. We want those lead drivers to be as close to a 100-point run in the lead position as possible. And in that situation, Osbo made a pretty big error as he transitioned to outside zone 1. He missed the zone, very low angle. His line was a little bit inside, and it caused JT...
Oh, it's an ad. You're killing me.
Cargarus?
Nobody wants to see this crap.
Find great deals.
Angle. His line was a little bit inside, and it caused...
So basically what they're saying is Osbo didn't give a good chaseable run from JTP, and that's why they gave him the run again. I didn't see that. We'll jump back real quick and take a look at it again. All right, so watch Osbo's run, low angle, pour some more on, transitions. Oh, okay, I see now. So he does a very quick transition very late and doesn't fill that zone, which choked Justin up behind, which is why they gave it a one more time between the two of them. So yeah, I do see that now, and I'm glad that we saw that again, and I'll show you one more time real quickly. So he comes in here. He waits and holds the transition and then flicks and never gets out there. So he transitions and drives out of the zone. So, you know, he's got 10 feet here, but Justin doing what he can do to chase gets bottled up and choked up because of it. So, yeah, I can see that for sure, and I'm glad the judges are starting to see those things because it shows the progression and what they're able to see and understand. Whether or not that was, you know, Osbo's intent or not, I don't think it was. I think he just made a mistake. It seemed like he had the car so gripped up that he wasn't really able to have much angle anyway. So interesting to see that, and I'm excited to see the judges making calls like that. All right, going into the next battle, we have James Dean and Alec Honadale. James Dean's going to lead first. He's going to throw it in here. Big flick. Quick handbrake. Again, Alec doing a great job in the chase position, lining himself up with that deep line so he can drive with the driver through the first turn, but doesn't quite pick up the throttle fast enough. James Dean touch and go, literally on it. Alec gets himself in a jam here, dives to the inside. You have him see him hit the brakes a little bit there. But then locks on in the outer zone here. James Dean doing a great lead run. Alec right there on him where he needs to be. Diving in the transition right where he needs. Great chase run through the last turn. Would have liked to see him pick up the throttle a little bit earlier and hopefully fill that proximity in the last turn. But overall, again, another textbook 96-point lead run from James Dean. And Alec doing a decent chase, but that's going to affect him right there. So we definitely need to pay attention to that and what James Dean does in the chase position. All right, so here they go, leaving the line. Alec Honadale leading, James Dean in the chase. Alec's going to go ahead and throw it in with a big deep flick. Well, gives a good spot for James to dive in on the inside, literally surpassing the front end. It's very, very close. The closest battle I've seen so far. Alec taps the wall there, gets wobbly, has an almost opposite drift there while James Dean is trying to play catch-up, but gets a little bit offline and maybe has some damage to his car. Can't quite see what's going on there. Looks like he's got something broken in the back left. Possibly that WiseFab setup that he runs, taking any little bit of a hit, is going to go ahead and break that stuff. So we'll go ahead and see again what happens. Yeah, it looks like there's just a little bit of contact, not very hard. Throws it in. It looks like he broke the car right there. I don't think he made contact with anything. I think the WiseFab just broke on it. You can see him just trying to get around there. But Alec, again, having a pretty big mistake right here coming out of this zone. The touch and go, he hits it pretty hard. Has an almost opposite drift. So I don't know if they're going to zero him on that. I mean, the rulebook is a little bit soft on that, so it's up to the driver, the discretion of the judges. Yeah, it looks like something broke in the WiseFab.
Whatever suspension piece broke on Dean's car broke on its own, and we want to make sure that there wasn't...
Yes, they literally just said it broke on its own. You're like, yeah, I wonder why. It's made out of toothpicks, bro. All right, so moving forward, we'll go ahead and change this to the next battle. They're rerunning this 100 times. I'm sure you guys watched this. You could see the whole back knuckle assembly is broken. If you look at this pen right here, oh, I have a blue one for WiseFab. This is about the thickness of the rear control arms. They're made of steel. I don't get it. They could be twice the size, made of aluminum, be way stronger, and be a higher quality piece, and they make them out of just absolute garbage. So looks like James Dean's going to get the win. I don't really know what's going on there. Let's see what they say.
Even score for that one. Independent. When a run like that ends up with two independent zeros, we looked at the replay and Dean's car broke all on its own as he initiated. The left rear wheel, something in the suspension let go, and then he didn't make contact with Honadale, but Honadale ended up hitting the wall and straightening on his own. So that's two independent incompletes. So that second run is basically a wash. Neither one of them win that one. Nobody gets a win. Nobody gets a loss, really. It's kind of an even score for that one. We go back to the first run, which there is two scorable runs in that one. Why are you booing me? James Dean laid down a textbook lead run. Honadale in the chase position missed the touch and go and outside zone one. So we have to make
Got it. So basically they made the entire call off the first run because they had independent zeros on the second battle. And James obviously had a textbook lead run that I called, was very, very good. Alec had a not-so-good chase run. So based on that, they gave him the win. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but when there's a 0-0, I don't really know what they're supposed to do. They could do it one more time, and I'll ask about that in the next drivers meeting we have. It is written in the rule book that way, though, so it's not like it's a surprise to anyone. All right, so next up we have Chris Forsberg and Forrest Wang. Forrest Wang's going to lead. Let's see if he can get that turbo wicked up and actually spin some tires in the first turn. It's kind of been a disappointment, this event so far, based on that. So let's see. Big initiation, deep, not a ton of angle, but wide. Chris is right where he needs to be, but now he's on the inside, has a little bit of a mistake there. His car is wicked up, but he's 5 feet off the outer zone. Again, doing the same thing, getting out there to that zone. Chris is in a bad spot on the inside, needs to be wider. You can see Forrest not really having a great lead run, kind of way off, not having his style that he normally has. I think it has a lot to do with the tires he's running. The Achilles have a lot of forward bite. He hasn't ran those in the past, and now his car's actually fast, so it might be difficult for him to drive. You can see him coming through this last turn. Chris ends up hitting the inner clip. So just a not-so-great chase run from Chris. I don't know if he was having a mechanical issue or what there. Just was kind of off as far as his drivability. And Forrest just a so-so lead run with quite a bit of front steering correction. The only thing he did well really was filling outer zone number 1 and then looking okay through this last turn here. He's still even 4 feet off the clip there. So not that great of a run from either of them. Not necessarily what you'd think in the Grade 8 battle. All right, switching positions. Chris is going to lead and Forrest is going to chase. And Chris throws it in, a little bit low angle, snaps, quick to angle though. Forrest right there on where he needs to be. Forrest almost driving straight there, but Chris having a little bit of a bobble, staying about 6 feet off the outer zone there. Again, same thing there, about 4 feet off. Forrest falling back, having a little bit of a bobble there, but then drives up close to the wall there, but misses the whole angle altogether. While Chris dives into the last turn, picks up the clip right where he needs to be. I mean, I'm definitely going to go ahead and say this is going to be a one more time. Depending on how they view Chris's mistake in the follow run on entry, I would say a little bit of a correction there. And then Wang just blows it off right here and misses it completely. So yeah, I definitely give this a one more time. We'll see what the judges say.
Our last round, obviously, right for Forrest Wang, and Ryan says Forrest Wang.
One more time.
One more time, and Brian says
one more time. Yes, I agree with that. I don't think it was really going to Forrest at all. If anything, it would have gone towards Chris. I know Chris had some botches and a mistake in the first run, but I definitely think that it was a one more time there. All right, next one's going to be JTP and Osbo rerun. JTP is going to throw it in. A little bit of a slow entry, right to angle. Osbo right there where he needs to be. Textbook follow from Osbo on the same line, even slightly maybe deeper. Big flick from Justin. Osbo right there on the door. This is the Osbo you're used to seeing. Huge angle from Justin. Insane. Osbo not fazed by it at all. Drives right back up to his door. Phenomenal chase run on Osbo's behalf. And an overall very, very good lead run from Justin Pollock. Not quite the line I would have liked to see. A little bit deeper on a few spots as far as the line. But the angle was ridiculous. All right, so going into the next battle, or same battle, but flipped reverse. Osbo's going to lead. Pollock's going to chase. Osbo throws it in. A little bit of a soft angle on entry. Again, I know I keep kind of saying that, but like when people are entering pretty hard normally, and this was a slower rate to angle. Justin right where he needed to be there. Osbo staying about 4 feet off. Transitions, tries to fill that outer zone, gets there late and doesn't quite get there again, which again puts like Justin in a little bit of a crappy position there. Osbo driving back up into his door here in the last turn, nicks that inner clip and drives back around. So I definitely want to watch a replay of this run because I think it's going to dictate who wins to watch it pretty closely here. So So similar entries between the two of them, similar positioning in the chase. Osbo pulls a little bit bigger of a gap there, but Justin's right where he needs to be. Oh, okay, so now that I'm looking here and not there, Justin just transitions in a poor position. And Osbo doesn't necessarily put the best transition down either, but I think it's good enough that they're not going to give him the or give Justin the win because of that. So just following this back through here, I definitely would give Osbo the win on this battle, just strictly because of the transition timing of Justin Pollock. And Osbo's going to get the win there. All right, so let's cruise on to the next battle, which is going to be Forrest and Forsberg. So in this run, it looks like Chris was having a clutch issue. I remember him speaking about this. Forrest is going to go ahead and run it in there, or maybe not a clutch issue, but an actual bearing issue for the clutch. So this is a fantastic run here. So already Forrest is right where he needs to be. Chris is in the chase at a really, really good spot. Drives in, doesn't quite get the drive out of one, but then catches right back up. Forrest actually finally filling that zone up all the way, but choking up Chris a little bit in that second zone. Oh my God, an ad. Right where he needs to be. This is a lead run, pretty good lead run from Forrest. You see a bobble there coming out of the outer zone, a little bit too much forward grip, blows it completely in this outer zone here. First half of the run was fantastic. Chris diving right back in the last turn, staying pretty close in the end. A little bit of a bobble there. Again, like this is one of those runs where it's we'll watch the replay again because there was so much that happened. So entry right where they need to be, both of them. You can see Forrest getting all the angle in the touch and go, while Chris kind of gets choked up a little bit and loses his momentum because of it. Forrest way off in this zone here, but his first half of the run was really good. Chris trying to play a quick game of catch up through here. Dives into the last turn right where he needs to be. Great follow through the last turn. A little bit low on angle for Chris, but overall the second half was good for Chris, and the first half was a good lead run for Forrest. So we'll switch positions here. Chris is going to lead. They're going to have to push him backwards on the grid because he's having a problem with his clutch. Can't actually get it in reverse, I bet, because of that clutch bearing issue. These cars run the NASCAR boxes, and the sequentials run a hydraulic release bearing inside that works the slave. Could be a master, too. Something in the hydraulics, though. All right, so here we go down the first turn. Chris with a big flick, not a ton of angle, but crossing over and snapping to angle quickly. Forrest right where he needs to be. Oh, Forrest with a big bobble. Chris getting out to that zone a little bit late. Forrest bobbling around a bit, but Chris doing a great lead run. Forrest locking in, getting where he needs to be. A little bit deeper on the wall than Chris even. And then diving into the last turn. Looks like Chris is, not quite maybe able to get it in gear. Ends up straightening. Forrest ends up hitting him because of that. So this win is definitely going to go to Forrest Wang. Unfortunately, it looks like Chris was having a car issue there, but he definitely drove through it like a man. Forrest getting his car pretty gripped up. Looks like he's getting used to it still. Just kind of having some bobbles here and there. Not necessarily being able to maximize the angle for the entire run, just in sectors of the run. All right, and we're going to have Frederick Osbo and Peter Visek. So Peter is going to lead first. Peter has quickly become one of my favorite drivers in the series. Love watching him drive. Osbo's also looking pretty good now in this new car. So here we go. Peter throws it in, big angle. Osbo running that inside line to be right there on him. Peter driving out to the outer zone, a little bit less angle than normal, but about a foot and a half off the outer zone. So Osbo is right there on him. Peter filling that outer zone a little late as he was earlier. Osbo going a little deep, but saving it. So Peter having a fantastic lead run, and Osbo literally dooring him for the entire time. So great battle. Putting some tire marks on tires there at the end. Fantastic run overall. We'll go ahead and watch the replay at normal speed. So you're going to see good entry from Peter. Osbo right there, half car back. And then basically it's glued the entire run. Peter has a fantastic lead run. falls back a little bit there as far as deepness, but he's right there where he needs to be. And Osbo driving right into the last turn, right where he needs to be. So great lead run, great follow. It's going to be tough to beat that from Pitor in the chase. So we'll go ahead and see here. They'll switch positions. Osbo's going to lead.
Clean start from both of them.
All right, Pitor throws it in right behind Osbo. Good angle. Pitor's right there on him, glued, super close. Osbo doesn't quite fill the zones as well as Pitor did, but Pitor is literally inside the car the entire run. Transitioning the last turn. This is ridiculous. No! He was going to win. He blew it in the last turn. Got a little bit too close and caught up behind Osbo. We'll watch this one more time here. You'll see Osbo is on throttle and committed to go through that last turn. He just overcooks it a little bit and loses. You'll also see my video guy right here, Danny. He's shooting right there. But yeah, so what a bummer to see that. So definitely Osbo's going to get the win. Pitor had it in the bag. You see Pitor saying, hey, good run. Really appreciate it. Thumbs up. Awesome run. So that's cool to see that. That was definitely, the both of them had a blast doing that run. All right, so moving on to the next battle. It looks like we're going to have... Oh, so yeah, Osbo did get the win. Sorry, I jumped to conclusions there. All right, so we're going to have Forrest, who is up on the line already, and then... Oh, no, so... Wait, did I see that correctly? James can't pull to the line in time? There's no sound.
Alec is a great driver. When I was leading, I gave it everything. He was close to me right behind, and it's a shame we didn't get to finish off a good run and put on a good show. But yeah, we both ended up with 2-0s after the second run, so we managed to get the win on the first run. So not the ideal way to win, but it's the way it is. So hopefully the guys are working super hard to get it ready, and hopefully we get back on track. Thank you very much.
Ryan seems a little just kind of mellow right. Osbo, Forrest Wang and Frederick Osbo are in the finals.
And now he is right there on the precipice of car reliability. Now he's made it very far into competition. He's in the final four, going up against Forrest Wang, but he does only have 5 minutes, a competition timeout.
So basically, James Dean's trying to fix his car
it's going to be Forrest Wang going
in that
to the
quick
finals.
5-minute rule at this
The story
point.
last year was basically put a strong performance in, and then Forrest Wang just really exciting this week.
James Dean or Forrest Wang when we return. Well, you can see one car waiting. That's Forrest Wang. And he doesn't have to wait anymore because we are getting word that James Dean is unable
James
to
couldn't
fix
his
his
car,
vehicle.
so you're going to get a solo run from Forrest.
One and done,
We'll watch it
or
real
is
quick.
Kind of a flash in the pan? I don't think
He's
so.
blazing it
But, right now,
by
Forrest
himself.
Wang, maybe
Not
that
quite
year
filling the
off
zones.
has
Couple
helped
little
him.
corrections here. Fill that zone completely, staying super wide. Pretty decent angle through there and doing a decent lead run. Would have probably been somewhere in the 89-90 range.
It just shows that James Dean is beatable.
All right, so moving on to that last battle for the...
Our finals are set.
All right, so here's the final battle. It's going to be Forrest Wang and Frederick Osbo. You can see this is not smoke. It was super foggy that day, which was crazy. It dropped in temperature quite a bit for the finals. Here we go, throwing it in. Pretty decent deep line from Wang, holding that handbrake way out wide while Osbo's waiting to pick the throttle up. Picks up the throttle twice to get out there. Big smashing lead run from Forrest, getting out to those outer zones, but Frederick is on him, super, super close, right where he needs to be, in the zone, fills that zone as well in the lead position, and then Osbo dives in a little bit shallow to get through that last turn, but ends up keeping it within a car distance in the last turn. So we'll watch this again one more time here. You can see Wang throws it in, waits. You see Osbo hit the gas twice to try to drive out, kind of get juked a little bit. Timing was a little bit off, but then boom, right on him, right where he needs to be. Super, super close. Filling that zone, so this is a decent run from Forrest in the lead position, and a great chase from Osbo, given that his lead run was not perfect.
All right, Osbo
All right, so switching positions here. It's going to be Osbo leading this time. All right, first turn, throws it in. Osbo with a little bit lamer of an entry driving through here. Forrest falls back a little bit, but following the line of Osbo very, very well. Dives to the inside there. Not quite as good of a lead run from Osbo as Forrest, but Forrest having decent proximity all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and say Osbo had a better follow run, but Forrest had a better lead run. So this could be a one more time. All right, so here we go. Here's the one more time for the battle for the win. Forrest Wang's going to lead. Osbo's going to chase. Wang with a little snappy entry there. Not a ton of angle, but Osbo right there on his door. Super close. Best battle I've seen so far. Touching the touch and go there. Osbo driving right up. Good lead run from Forrest. A little bit of articulation of angle there. Boom! Into the outer zone, number 2. Osbo falling back a little bit, but then driving onto the inside. A little bit of a bobble there, but finishing on the door of Forrest Wang. Forrest not quite picking up the throttle quick enough in the last turn, causing Osbo to have a little bit of a straighten there. But not a knock on Osbo and not a huge deduction on Forrest, in my opinion. All right, here is the flip side of this battle. Forrest is going to follow Osbo into turn 1. Osbo goes ahead and throws it in. Again, like a kind of a slow rate to angle, but Forrest is right where he needs to be. But he's on the inside there. That's going to cause some problems. As you can see, Osbo getting way out to the outer zone, but Forrest diving the inside, not quite making it. Again, with the handbrake extension to try to fill that zone, getting into this zone very, very late. Forrest having a bobble behind him, but now closing the gap right where he needs to be. Forrest doing a fantastic job here at the end, driving through the turn, and about a car length difference. You know, I got to say Osbo's lead run was almost as good as Forrest, but Osbo's chase was much, much better. So I'm going to go ahead and give this battle to Osbo. Let's go ahead and fast forward. They said they have a winner. And
it's not unanimous. It's 2-1. Your winner here at round 1 is Frederick, the Norwegian.
There it is. Forrest gets second, and there's Shaldo and the whole crew with Osbo's team, Papadakis, and Forrest is going to get second place. Definitely agree with that call. Osbo was ripping all weekend. Not necessarily the best lead run driver, but the best chase driver all weekend. And even with the new rule changes, sometimes that's still going to win. His lead runs weren't terrible. They were great. They just weren't amazing. But yeah, so Osbo is going to get the win here. So that was FD Long Beach. Pretty wild weekend. Cars catching on fire. Cars getting faster and faster. Forrest, good to see him back in Formula D and ended up in second. Looks like his car's actually fast and moving pretty well this year. I think that he has a couple things to get used to, but he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. Good congratulations to Osbo for winning, and bummer to Forsberg for rounding off the podium. But having that car issue, that definitely did not help. He could have definitely been doing pretty well this weekend. Overall, I think I ended up 11th, so I'm stoked to move into Orlando with a better position than I was last year. And we need to get a podium in Orlando or Atlanta. That's what I'm pushing for. Pretty stoked on the car and the changes that are being made to it. And overall, the team morale leaving Long Beach is high. So I'm, excited to get to Orlando with the changes that we're going to make. We found a little bit more power band. We found a little bit more grip and a couple ways to make it easier to drive on my behalf. And just overall excited on everything. I'm not stoked on the positioning coming out of Long Beach, but overall I know that it's just the first event and I am still learning quite a bit with that car. So stoked for everybody who did well at Long Beach. Dean Kearney didn't make it, but I know he's going to be at the next round with his car running. And, overall, what else? House cleaning stuff is going to be... Super D video is coming this weekend. Chelsea's editing that. We're trying to get all that stuff done for you guys to get out. For everyone that sent in footage for that got it, thank you very much. We were waiting on that. To be able to put the video together. Caleb Quambach's giveaway ends next week, I believe. So make sure you check that out. I know he's my homie. He's putting that together so he can finish his car to go hopefully get his FD license. So support the hustle on that. and get him out there and buy a sticker and enter to win his pretty sick S13. I know he just got done painting it and whatnot. So this stuff is not cheap to do. It's expensive, so thanks for supporting all of the YouTube stuff, guys. I really appreciate it. I know I have a little bit of ads in here thrown in, but I do the best I can to give you guys the best content to hopefully outweigh you watching a few of those ads and hitting skip. So thanks a lot, guys. Subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'll be doing these for every round this year. And, yeah, I'm stoked on everything. And I'll see you guys in Orlando.